Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. I'm your host, Will, here with another video. And today we're going to be talking about the upcoming NFL season, which starts in like 50 minutes, less than that. So by the time this video probably uploads, either later tonight or early in the morning, tonight's game of the Ravens Chiefs will be over. But no, this video was filmed and attempted to be uploaded before that game ended. I really hope the echoing out here is not affecting the sound. I'm going to be really disappointed if I stop to watch this and the sound is really off. So I apologize if there is an issue with the sound, or I redo this whole video and you don't see this part. But I want to do my NFL season predictions video, and you have to excuse the setup. I don't have a desk yet, so I've been either filming off of my TV tray or where I am now in our kitchen living room. But I got some cool movie posters behind it, so at least there's some scenery behind me now. Um, but I have my NFL season predictions in front of me here. Got the book here, or the notebook. Took some notes. Looked over schedules last night. Picked what teams I thought were going to win the divisions, win the wild cards. I have MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year. We're going to try and cover it all, but I'm going to try and do it in a shorter time than last year's video. We've had issues with our upload speed here at the new apartment. So the last two videos, which have each been 30 minutes, take 7 hours to upload those. So we're going to try and cut it down to around 20 minutes or so this video. Hopefully I can get through that. So without further ado, we're going to get started on my NFL season predictions. We're going to go through each division. I'm not going to spend too much time on the other teams in the divisions, but focus on the teams that I have winning and in the wild card spot. So over in the NFC, winning the East, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it's a little biased pick, but the Eagles didn't finish strong last year. I think the Cowboys have one of the most talented offenses in the league with CeeDee Lamb. They brought Ezekiel Elliott back, not what he used to be, but I think behind a good offensive line compared to the Patriots' offensive line, I think he'll do better. Also, they just signed Dalvin Cook. These are two older guys. They might not do anything, and Rico Dowdle might end up being the starting running back. But I think with a tandem of those three guys, they're each going to get some handoffs, and teams aren't going to really know who's running when they're throwing it. CeeDee Lamb looks electric in the receiving game. The defense is going to be good with Mike Zimmer at defensive corner. I think the Cowboys are going to break the 20-year streak of there being no repeat champion division winners in the NFC East. It's been I think that's an NFL record that it's no other division has gone that long. I think without a repeat champion. The Cowboys are going to break it this year. They're going to break that. I think the Eagles are really the only team that can contend with them, but the Eagles really struggled down the stretch last year. They lost Jason Kelce to retirement, one of the greatest centers of all time. I think they're going to have issues replacing him, and I think teams are perhaps maybe going to be a little more prepared this year for the tush push. So we're going to see how that evolves, but I'm picking the Cowboys to win the East. Winning the North, I have the Detroit Lions. They looked phenomenal last year, and I am wholeheartedly drinking the Dan Campbell Kool-Aid. They look like a Super Bowl contender after they probably should have been playing in the Super Bowl last year. So I have them winning the North. Some interesting game. I guess I should point out some. Well, I don't know if I have time to point out all the games. They do play the 49ers in the regular season this year, and so do the Cowboys. So both of those games are going to be good games. The Cowboys also play the Lions. So we're going to have some good games. I kind of think the 49ers will beat the Lions in the regular season, though. Cowboys Lions, I think, will be a good matchup. I do think the Cowboys will probably lose to the 49ers in the regular season. But we'll get to a little more records and whatnot in a bit. So the Lions, I have them winning the North. The NFC South, I have the Buccaneers winning the South. And I guess I should point out in the North, I think the Lions are going to do well under Dan Campbell. I think the Packers will be good as well. And I think that the Bears will be a dark horse team to maybe make the playoffs with all the new players they brought in, with DJ Moore, with Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and of course Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick. I think they're going to be much improved, but I don't see them winning the North. And the Vikings, with J.J. McCarthy going down, they lost Kirk Cousins. I don't see the Vikings. I see the Vikings finishing last in that division. The NFC South, as I said, I have the Buccaneers winning this division. I think a lot of people are picking the Falcons. They're high on them with Kirk Cousins, with Bijan Robinson, Drake London. They have, of course, they have weapons. I think getting Kirk Cousins a proven NFL quarterback is great for them. I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to be in the running for the division. They're running for the playoffs, or a wild card team, if not the division. But I have the Bucs winning. I think the Bucs showed last year, as Baker Mayfield showed with them, that they're just too consistent of a team. They've still, even though their wide receivers are a little older, they've got good wide receivers. They got a good run game with Rachaad White. Their defense isn't bad, and Baker Mayfield is an NFL quarterback. He should have been starting the entire time. The Browns should have never let him go. That was a huge mistake by them. And the Bucs are going to win the NFC South. In the NFC West, hands down, it's the San Francisco 49ers. They've been one of the best teams over the last 3 or 4 years. They've come very close to winning a Super Bowl. They just keep playing the NFC title game. They've come close to winning a couple Super Bowls over the past few years against the Chiefs. They're going to be in the running they're going to be Super Bowl contenders this year, just like the Lions are. Those two teams to me kind of stand out as front runners in the NFC. And then the wild card teams I have for the NFC, I have the Eagles. Even though I don't think they'll win the division, I think they'll make it close. They'll make it interesting, but they're going to be a wild card team. I still think they've got enough talent on their team with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and Nick Sirianni, I think, is a decent head coach. I think they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card team. I also have the Packers as a wild card team. I think they're going to take a step further under Jordan Love this year. They're not going to win the division over the Lions, but they will make the playoffs. I can guarantee that. And then I have the Rams. This was kind of a wild card pick. It's a wild card. It was kind of a wild card of a wild card pick. There's a lot of different ways you could go with this. A lot of different teams you could pick, and I just decided to go the Rams. I think Matthew Stafford, if he's healthy this year, if Cooper Kupp's healthy this year, their offense is going to be good. And we might finally see them kind of return to what they were when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago, where, hey, their offense can be very dangerous, where they have a good head coach. Like, they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be improved this year from where they have been. And Matthew Stafford's going to lead them to the playoffs again. But as a wild card team, I don't see them. I think they can maybe win a game or so. I should say it. I think they could win a game against the 49ers, but I don't see them winning the division. So move over to the AFC real quick and pick who I think is going to win the divisions and wild card. And I guess I should mention in these. Well, I don't really know if we have time to go into all their schedules and everything, but we'll stick the division winners of the wild card and maybe mention who they might play and whatnot. And the AFC East, I have the Dolphins winning the division. I think this will be one, if not the toughest division in football this year. You have the Dolphins, who are going to be good. The Bills, even though they lost Stephon Diggs, they're still going to be good with Josh Allen at quarterback, Sean McDermott as their head coach. They're still going to be a good team, and in the hunt for the division, hunt for the playoffs, hunt for the Super Bowl possibly. And you also have the New York Jets, which are a good team. They just didn't have a quarterback last year. Aaron Rodgers was on the field for like 4 plays, and his season was over. If Aaron Rodgers can play the full season this year and be healthy, I think the Jets are a playoff caliber team, and you might see 3 teams out of the AFC East make the playoffs. But I'm picking the Dolphins to win the division. I think they're the most complete team. They've got a great wide receiving core. Their defense is good. They've got a fairly deep running back core with Raheem Mostert and, I'm blanking. Is it Arcane? Is that the other running back? I think Arcane's the other running back. I think they've got a good head coach and Mike McDaniel. I just think they're the most complete team out of those 3. And Tua Tagovailoa is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So I think I don't just think, I know that they're going to win the AFC East. That's my prediction, is the Dolphins win the AFC East. The AFC North, I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens. Last year they showed they were one of the best teams in the league, and Lamar Jackson didn't even really put up that spectacular numbers. They're just a very complete team. They've got a good defense, a good offensive line. They've got a good run game. They added Derrick Henry. As I know I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm also a Titans fan. It really hurt me for the Titans to lose Derrick Henry. I really wanted him to come back. But going to the Ravens is probably the best pick for him outside of staying with the Titans. They've got a good team. They're going to be a Super Bowl contending team, and with him on that team, they could essentially just run the triple threat option every time. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to hand it off to Henry? Is Lamar going to keep it and run? Is he going to throw it downfield? You don't know. And the fact that they could probably do that very successfully at the NFL level is just not only just scary, but it's also fantastic. And I think they're going to be a fun team to watch, a really fun team on offense to watch. And on top of that, they've got a great defense. They have the best kicker in the league. John Harbaugh's a great coach. They're a Super Bowl contender this year. So I have them winning the AFC North. I don't think, I guess I should mention the other teams in that division. In the East, like I said, I think the Dolphins are the most complete team. Patriots have no shot. Like, they're in full rebuild mode essentially. And Jacoby Brissett was named the starting quarterback instead of their high drafted quarterback Drake May. That just means that he's going to learn a bit going forward. But I see the Dolphins as the most complete team. The Ravens are the most complete team in the AFC North. Might be one, if not the most complete team in the NFL. Blacked out there for a second. I lost my train of thought. So the Ravens are one of the most complete teams in the NFL. I think the Bengals would be good. I don't see them being better than the Ravens. Joe Burrow's coming back from an injury, and the Ravens are just more complete. The Browns, I think, have a good defense, and I think they've got some good players on offense. It's just, I don't know how good Deshaun Watson is a quarterback, so I really don't want to pick the Browns to win anything if it came down to it. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I would not be betting on the Browns to make the playoffs. It's just my pick. I mean, they might, but I'm not gonna be that man to pick them. And the Steelers are gonna be horrible. I think they're gonna finish last place in that division. Their offense, unless Russell Wilson can turn into what he was a few years ago, their offense is not going to do anything. And I'm in 6 fantasy football leagues. I have not drafted a single Pittsburgh Steeler offensive player. I don't even think I've picked their defense or anything, even though their defense is going to be good. They are the Iowa Hawkeyes of the NFL. Great defense, great uniforms, the black and yellow. But their offense is atrocious. Their offense is going to be absolutely atrocious this year. Unless Russell Wilson can be what he was a few years ago, or if you're a Steelers fan, you're hoping he's better than what you've seen the last few years with Mitchell Trubisky or who was their quarterback? Was it Mason Rudolph? I don't even remember who their quarterback was last year. It's a forgetful offense. Like, I don't want anything to do with the Steelers offense. And 6 fantasy football leagues, I've not drafted a single Steelers offensive player. That has been my philosophy in all of those leagues. I do not think the offense will be good at all. Sorry, Steelers fans. Gives you hope for the future, though. You might get a high draft pick. So the Ravens win the AFC North. AFC South, I have the Texans winning it. I think the Texans are just going to edge out this division. I think this division could go several ways as well. Of course, I'm a Titans fan, so I'm biased there, but the Titans are improved. There's a lot of people saying they're going to have like a top 6 or top 7 pick again last year. There's no way that happens unless they just have a ton of injuries. They improved their offensive line. Their offensive line could not be worse than it was last year. Last year, the offensive line was totally traffic cones. This year, it's an improved offensive line. You got another year under Skoronski, who's going to be playing left guard. No, left tackle. I'm sorry. He'll be playing left tackle, and Latham will be left guard. I think I have that right. Why is it not pulling up the roster? Okay, I've got it backwards. Latham is the left tackle, and Skoronski is the left guard. Right? Anyway, I'm getting all confused. Latham, the first round draft pick, and Skoronski on the left side of the offensive line, whichever way they put them, the Titans are going to be improved there. They're going to be improved on offensive line. They brought in a new head coach and Brian Callahan, offensive coordinator for the Bengals last year, and I think maybe the year or two before that. He brought in his dad, who's offensive line coach, who's one of the better offensive line coaches in the league. So the offensive line is going to improve. The Titans improve their secondary. They improve their wide receiving core by signing Calvin Ridley. You've got another year under Will Levis. The Titans are going to be an improved team, and they're going to pass the ball. They're not going to be this one-dimensional team that runs it 2-3 times in a row and then punts on 4th and 9 every time. They're going to pass the ball, and they're going to move it. They're not going to be this predictable team that runs it first and second down and tries to complete a 3rd and long. They're going to be a more dynamic team, and that's going to make them a better offensive team, and it's going to make them more unpredictable, which is going to help their offense. Which means I think they're going to be more competitive in games. As my dad said, they're going to be a fun team to watch this year because on offense they're going to move the ball. It's not going to be, well, we hope to play it close and defense keep it close and win the game. So the Titans, I think, are going to be improved. The Jaguars are still going to be in the running for the playoffs. I know they finished badly last year, but Trevor Lawrence has found a way to win at every level. I think he's an okay quarterback. We'll see how he does this year. He's got some weapons around with Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk. I think they signed or drafted. I think they drafted a wide receiver. But anyway, I think the Jaguars are going to be good. Doug Peterson's a good head coach. I think they're going to be good and in the run. But I have the Texans edging them out. I think they went on a tiebreaker either over the Jags or Titans or both. You might have a 3-way tie for the division lead, and the Texans edge it out. Those teams are going to play each other. I think they're going to be fairly competitive, but I have the Texans having the slight edge. In the AFC West, I have the Chiefs winning hands down. They're Super Bowl contenders. They won the last 2 Super Bowls. They have the best player in the league in Patrick Mahomes. There's no way I'm picking any other team in that division. The Chargers let you down every year, even though they have Jim Harbaugh at coach. I think they could be a dark horse for the wild card team. I also think dark horse wild card teams could be the Jaguars and Titans, especially the Titans, because like so many people are sleeping on them, and the Titans are going to be improved from where they were last year. So I think that the Chargers could be a dark horse for a wild card team, but they're not going to win the division. The Broncos, while they might be improved with Bo Nix at quarterback, they're not winning the division, and the Raiders is sure as heck are not winning the division. I'm not a betting man, but the Raiders are not coming close to winning that division. Sorry, Raiders fans. My wildcard teams in the AFC, I have the Bills, Bengals, and Jets. I think the Bills are still going to be good. They have Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The Bengals have Joe Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The AFC is really stacked in quarterbacks. And then the Jets have Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. If he can stay healthy, he completes that team and they make the playoffs. As I said, I think the Chargers and the Chargers, Titans, and Jaguars are teams that I think are going to be good that just miss. I think Jim Harbaugh needs another year to fix the Chargers where they can make the playoffs. I mean, they might surprise. I might be wrong, but I don't see them making that step this year. I think they need to make some more corrections, and the Chargers just find a way to not get it done. So with that being said, I've almost already hit my time limit, but I'm going to go ahead and go through how I have the teams seated. I should have given my projected record for winning the divisions, but I'll do that with the seeding. And if I can remember, I'll try and mention some games that happen that might be tie-breaking games or games that matter during the season for some of these teams. And we'll start with the NFC first. And I've got the number 1 seed is the San Francisco 49ers at 14-3. I think they're probably the most absolute complete team in the NFL in terms of defense and offense. They seem to have like a Pro Bowl player at almost every position. They're going to be great. They're going to win the division. They play the Lions and Cowboys and the Buccaneers during the regular season, since all those teams won their divisions last year. And I think they're going to beat all those teams, which is going to give them the edge over the Lions and Cowboys, which I really think are going to be in the running for the 1 seed. And I have the 49ers at 14-3. I think they're going to find a way to lose to the Rams and lose a couple games. They're not going to go undefeated. They're going to find a way to lose about 3 games. The Lions I have at 13-4. Losing to the 49ers is going to lose them the 1 seed during the regular season. It's at not Candlestick. It's at Levi Stadium out in San Francisco. Or really, it's not San Francisco. It's just outside San Francisco. It's like 30 minutes outside San Francisco. But that's where the game is at. It's at Levi Stadium. I don't see the Lions winning there, at least in the regular season. That might be foreshadowing. The Lions are going to lose in the regular season. That's going to make them lose out in the 1 seed. But they'll be the 2 seed at 13-4. I think they'll find a way to lose some games to the 49ers. I think they'll lose to the Cowboys in the regular season, but they're going to have the better overall record. 3, I have the Cowboys at 12-5 in the 3 seed. I think they're going to lose to the Eagles. They might shockingly lose to Washington, who I think is going to be better than some people think, with Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn out there as head coach. I think they're going to be a good team, or a much improved team. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think the Cowboys might struggle with them. The Bucs I have as the 4 seed at 10-7. They play in a tough division with the Falcons, who I think are improved. I think the Saints, while they won't make the playoffs, they have talent, and I think Derek Carr is a better quarterback than people give him credit for. And even when Brady was there, the Saints found a way to beat the Buccaneers. So I think the Buccaneers are going to be 10-7 and fighting with the Falcons going into perhaps the last week to win that division and get the 4 seed there and get a home playoff. 5, I have the Packers at 12-5. I think they're going to be really good. I just don't think they're going to be better than the Lions. 6, I have the Eagles at 11-6. They're going to be just short of the Cowboys and lose out in the division. And at 7, I have the Rams at 11-6, sneaking in there at the end. They might go 10-7 and make it, but I think they're going to be the last wild card spot. And then let's jump over to the AFC. In AFC, I have the Chiefs at the 1 seed at 14-3. They play the Ravens later tonight, actually in about 20 minutes or so. Hopefully this video can get uploaded sometime tonight. But I think the Chiefs are going to, by beating the Ravens tonight, they're going to hold a tiebreaker, and they're going to tie in the standings at 14-3. Chiefs have the tiebreaker, though. They're going to get the 1 seed. Got the Ravens at the 2 seed. They play, I think, actually I think both the Chiefs and the Ravens play the 49ers again this year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong on that, though. Where are the schedules I'm looking for? Yes, the Chiefs play at the 49ers. I think that's a game they could lose. And I believe the Ravens also play at the 49ers, if I remember correctly from looking at schedule last night. They do not. I think that was a last year game. They do not play the 49ers. So, I mean, that's a game to look out for later in the year that might make the difference in the standings. But if the Chiefs beat the Ravens tonight, like I'm predicting, I think the Chiefs, of course, the Chiefs will have the tiebreaker if they win, so they'll have the top seed. Ravens have the 2 seed. I got the Dolphins at 3 at 12-5. So a couple games behind the Ravens and Chiefs. I think they're still going to be really good. They're going to get that 3 seed. At the 4 seed, I got the Texans at 9-8. I think I have them. I do have them as the worst record of any team in the playoffs. 9-8 is not a horrible record. It's the new 9-7. With the added extra game. 9-8. They're going to win the division, get the home playoff game. They're going to squeak by the Jaguars and Titans, perhaps even by a wild card, or not by a tiebreaker. And so the Texans are going to win that division and get the 4 seed there. At the 5 seed, I have the Bengals at 12-5. I think they're going to be good. I think people are kind of sleeping on them after Joe Burrow was injured last year. I think they're going to be good. I think Joe Burrow is going to show again that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league and lead the Bengals to the playoffs. They're not going to be better than the Ravens, though, so they're going to be playing as a wild card team. 6, I have the Bills. They go from being, what were they last year, the 2 seed, I think? They might not have been the 2 seed. I think they might have been the 3 seed. Yeah, they were the 3 seed, I believe. I think they were the 3 seed. And they're going to drop from the 3 seed all the way down to the 6 seed at 11-6. Um, I think they're still going to be good, but I just don't. I think it's too hard of too tough a division for them to win. And at 7, I have the Jets squeaking in at the end, 11-6. They might be 10-7, but with Aaron Rodgers, I'm giving them the edge of making the playoffs over any of the other potential wildcard teams like the Titans, Jags, or Chargers. I think Aaron Rodgers completes that team. They're going to make the playoffs, and that is all 14 teams, 7 seeds in each conference. We're going to move on to the wild card round. I'm going to go through my predictions for the playoffs, and then I'm going to give you my season predictions for the NFL awards. So in the wild card round, I have the 2-seeded Ravens over the 7-seeded Jets. I have the 3-seeded Dolphins over the 6-seeded Bills. The Dolphins get their first playoff win in, I believe, over 20 years. And the Bengals will upset the Texans in Houston. Over on the NFC side, I have the 2-seeded Lions over the 7-seeded Rams. We're going to have a rematch again of Stafford Bowl. And the Lions are going to win over the Rams. The 3-seeded Cowboys are going to beat the 6-seeded Eagles. Cowboys might beat them 3 times this year, but I think the Cowboys are going to win the wild card round and move on to the divisional round. And then in the last wild card spot, I have the Packers upsetting the Bucks. The 5 seed upsets the 4 seed and moves on to the divisional round. In the divisional round, we got the 1-seeded Chiefs. I'm picking them over the Bengals. They're going to get revenge from a few years ago in that AFC title game. They're going to beat them in the AFC divisional round. And then I have also the Ravens over the Dolphins. So it means we're getting a rematch of the top 2 seeds in the AFC title game again this year, except the Chiefs have home field advantage this year. Moving over to the NFC, I have the 49ers over the Packers. They're the 1 seed, they're the best team. It feels like the 49ers and Packers play in the playoffs almost every year. I have the 49ers winning. I think they're probably the most complete team in the NFL. I'm picking them to beat the Packers. And then I have the Lions over the Cowboys. They're gonna get revenge on the regular season game last year, and they're gonna get revenge on the regular season game this year in which the Cowboys beat them. They're gonna get revenge and beat the Cowboys and go back to the NFC title game to rematch with the 49ers at San Francisco. Santa Monica, that's the name of the town that I could not think of. Santa Monica is actually where they play, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe it's Santa Monica, which is actually like a city or smaller city outside San Francisco. But they're gonna have a rematch of last year's NFC title game. We're gonna have 2 rematches of the conference championship games from a year ago, except things are going to go a little bit differently this year. In the NFC, the Lions are going to beat the 49ers. They're going to upset the 49ers. I'm drinking the Dan Campbell Kool-Aid, as I said earlier. I'm believing in him. They should have won last year. They blew a big lead. They started taking risks on fourth down, going for 2-point conversions. Like they just started taking. They started taking. Did they? I don't remember if they did a 2-point conversion on, but they got where they just went for 2-point conversions all the time. They went for on 4th down all the time. It's like, just kick the field goal. Just go for the safe play. Like, you're in the NFC title game. Don't take unneeded risks. The 49ers got back in the game and won the game. And I think they're going to learn from the mistakes of last year of, hey, we're still going to be us and go for it on 4th down, but we're not going to go for it on 4th down every time. If we have the lead, we're going to kick a field goal. We're going to take the free points. So I think the Lions are going to learn from their mistakes last year. I'm believing in Dan Campbell. They're winning that division over the 49ers. They're going to their first Super Bowl ever. Lions have never been before. They're going to the Super Bowl this year. Over in the AFC, things don't go differently. The Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs win. I think it'll be a great game. It's going to be a rematch of Week 1, which is tonight. But I think the Chiefs are winning that game. It is just so hard for me to pick against Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, that team. He's become the new Tom Brady. Until they lose, it's almost like, can you really pick against him? Like it's when Tom Brady was playing, like people all the time would just trash him. His career's over. He's not going to be any good anymore. He's on a downward slope. And then he would win the Super Bowl, and it'd kind of be like, you're really going to bet against him? So that's my kind of philosophy right now with Patrick Mahomes. It's hard not to pick them to go back to the Super Bowl, them and the Chiefs, and which means we get to see Taylor Swift 24/7 all season long and into the Super Bowl again. So my Super Bowl matchup is Chiefs over Chiefs playing the Lions. This was a pick that a lot of people had last year, which was actually kind of a fun pick because the Lions have never been before, so it would be really cool to see them make it there. But I'm picking, as I pretty much slipped there, I have Chiefs over the Lions. That is my pick for the Super Bowl. I think it is hard to just, as I said, it's hard to pick against Mahomes. It's hard to pick against Kelsey and Andy Reid and the power of Taylor Swift. They're the best team. They are, as much as you hate them, as much as you don't like it, it's reality. They're the best team until someone can beat them, prove them wrong, or knock them out of the playoffs, or have a higher seed than them. You gotta go out there and prove it. Until that's done, they're the best team. They're the front runner. I do think Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP, and after this Super Bowl, we're seeing him starting to be put in GOAT status, where it's like, okay, like maybe he can eclipse Tom Brady, the guy we thought was uneclipsable. I think it'll be a good game though. I think it'll be close, and it might come down to a failed fourth down conversion, like we saw in the NFC title game last year. Can the Lions make the correct plays, or are they gonna lose it all by taking risks? But you never know. It's gonna be a fun season. It's gonna be a fun Super Bowl if that happens. I would be happy for that. But the Chiefs have done something new the last 2 years. When they won it 2 years ago, it was the first time, it was the first time an MVP, a regular season MVP, won the Super Bowl in the same season since Kurt Warner in '99. As Patrick Mahomes back in 22. In the 22 season, they won the Super Bowl. First time regular season MVP had won the MVP and the Super Bowl in the same season since 1999, Kurt Warner. Pretty cool, right? We hadn't seen that in a while. Well, last year, they win the Super Bowl back-to-back years. First time we've seen that in 20 years since the 03-04 Patriots. And I think this year we're going to see a new thing. They win 3 in a row. First team ever to do 3 in a row. I think that's what's going to happen this year. I really hope that doesn't happen. I would like to see either my Cowboys or the Titans make it there. But I do think that the Chiefs are the best team. And until someone, as I said, someone beats them, they're the best team. So that's what I have for the regular season in terms of teams and the playoffs. This video has already gone 12, almost 13 minutes past what I wanted it to be. But we're just going to go quickly through who I have for the NFL awards this year. So at MVP, I have Joe Burrow. I think him coming back is going to be great for the Bengals. People are going to see again that he's good. They finished last in that division last year at 9-8. They're going to be competing for the division this year. I don't think they're going to win it. I think the Ravens are clearly better than them. But who knows? They might beat the Ravens again. Them getting back in the playoffs, I think Joe Burrow is going to have a great year. He's going to be the MVP. He was my pick for MVP last year, so might just be me trying to force it. But I think he's going to be MVP. I think, and he could win Comeback Player of the Year this year. Offensive Player of the Year, I have Derrick Henry. Like MVP, you could go a lot of different ways with this pick. I think on the Ravens, though, we might see him get 20 touchdowns this season. We might see him rush for 2,000 yards again. I don't think we'll see the 2,000 yards, but we could see him get 20 touchdowns this year. And I think if he does, he very well could win Offensive Player of the Year. But there's a lot of other players in the running for this. CeeDee Lamb was someone I thought about picking, just phenomenal. Tyreek Hill's the betting odds favorite right now. MVP, also, I should mention Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson won it last year, even though I think that was really more of him just being on the best team than the most deserving, at least in my opinion. You could go a lot of different ways in MVP. You could give it to Aaron Rodgers if he comes back and the Jets make the playoffs. But I'm sticking with Joe Burrow at MVP, and I'm picking Derrick Henry as Offensive Player of the Year. I do think CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill, especially if Tyreek Hill can do what he did last year all season long, those guys are going to go in the running for it as well. Defensive Player of the Year, I picked Micah Parsons. Nick Bosa is going to be in the running for this. T.J. Watt. There's going to be some other guys in the running. I picked Micah Parsons last year. I think this is the year where we see him. We've seen it the last few years where he's gotten better every year. I think this is the year where finally he's going to be up there in sacks. He's not going to fall off kind of late season where he just kind of gets stuck at like 12 sacks. We're going to see him get close to 20 sacks perhaps, and he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And the Cowboys defense is going to be great under Mike Zimmer, and he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I guess we could jump down to Comeback Player of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year, I've kind of put them out of order here on my notebook. Comeback Player of the Year, I'm going Aaron Rodgers here. I think you could go Joe Burrow. You could go a lot of different ways with this. Joe Burrow, you could go Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. He hardly played at all. He played like 4 snaps, or 3. I think it might have been 3 snaps before he got injured. And it's become a meme, just the video of him running out the tunnel with the American flag, that was his season. I think the story this year is going to be Aaron Rodgers is back. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be Comeback Player of the Year. I think that's going to be one of the stories this year. He's going to be great. He's going to be what that Jets team needs to make the playoffs. He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. Coach of the Year, I'm picking Dan Campbell. I think he should have won it last year over Kevin Stefanski? No, it wasn't Stefanski. Stilowski? It was whoever the Vikings head coach is. Why is it not loading? I had it pulled up a while ago because I was looking at who won everything last year. Well, my phone is refusing to work now. But I can't believe Dan Campbell didn't win it last year. Like the Lions went from basically being nowhere and everyone joking and making fun of Dan Campbell to them winning the division. Of course, it's a regular season award. There's not going to have to be voting on this in the playoffs if they make it to the Super Bowl. So I was really shocked that he didn't win it last year. I really think that he should have, and I think he's going to win it this year. I think it's going to be kind of a makeup for not winning it last year, but also the Lions are going to be good again this year. Where is it? Where? Kevin O'Connell? Sorry, I'm going to have to look this up because Google's lying to me right now. Kevin Stefanski was voted the 2023 the Bengals coach. Why in the world did I think it was the Vikings? Kevin Stefanski was the coach of the year last year, head coach of the Browns. Yeah, I didn't really see that coming. I really think it should be Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell will win it this year. As I said, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Dan Campbell. I am full in. If I'm a Lions fan, I would be super excited for this season. Got little time left before the NFL actually starts. It might actually be starting now. So I got to finish this video. I got to wrap it up. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Caleb Williams. I think he's going to do great in Chicago. He's got a lot of talent around him. He's going to do great as an offensive quarterback. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, a lot of these guys I don't really know as much because I don't follow the college game as closely as I do the NFL. So I was just looking through, and Dallas Turner stood out to me, Vikings linebacker. They're going to be a more defensive-minded team this year. Their offense is not going to be that good outside of Justin Jefferson. And they've got no quarterback at J.J. McCarthy. So anything anyone does at defense is going to stand out more. And I think Dallas Turner, linebacker, has a good chance at winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. So I'm picking him. That's all I have for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sorry that it stretched on far longer than I wanted it to. But these are my picks for the 2024 NFL season. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's winning the MVP? Are you going to win your fantasy league? Who's on your fantasy team? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.